Shalom, family, and welcome back to another Faithful Friday Sabbath Class, okay? We're going to continue in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15 and verse 16, okay? The book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15 and verse 16. For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a God like unto himself. So now there's two parts. The first part is understanding we're simply borrowing or leasing our spirits, these bodies, even. We don't own it. We have no power or ultimate control over it. Yeah, I can choose to move my arm this way, up and down, and, eat what I want. Yeah, to a degree, I have power, but that power is limited. I don't have, power over, life and death, not in the sense of whether or not I can take a gun and shoot myself, but rather, I don't have power to where if I do that, I can just bring myself back. If I just jump in front of a car, I can just, nothing will happen to me, to this body, because I don't want anything to happen to it, although it took this damage. Or if I, pass away, I can't just come back. Like, you're limited. So it's understanding that those limits are there. The reality of it is there because you're borrowing your own spirit, that you're fashioning things that, even as it says, it continues to explain, you can't even make a God, a power that's even on a similar playing field as yourself. You can't, because the Most High God created you to be a God of a lower form, but still a power. But you yourself cannot create, these stone, wood, and ceramic type gods to be better or equal than yourself, because you can't even make them walk, talk, and think and reason in a way that is equal or greater to yourself. They're very much so dumb idols, in the sense that they can't do anything. Like a dog that can't bark. It's mute. It's dumb. So verse 17. For being mortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands. So the Most High, guys, is for us being mortal. We work a thing, but with a dead thing. A thing that, because just dead being, it's not alive. It's not all of a sudden going to start talking to you. So, but yet you're doing it, wicked hands, meaning your hands, how you do things. So wicked actions. Your actions are things that the Most High God does not approve of. For he himself is better than the things which he worshipeth, whereas he lived once, but they never. So now think about that. So we're going to tell you off top, Most High is like, man, you better than any of these things you worship, because at least you lived. At least you lived at least once. These things, they never lived. They were never alive. They weren't move and walk around, do all these things. No, that was not the case and situation. Verse 18, yea, they worship those beasts also that are most hateful. For being compared together, some are worse than others. So yes, even though, it's all sin and sin, but some is worse than others. Some of these gods, it's like, what God you worship? You know what's behind this? Nah, that one is worse, because it represents this. It's supposed to be a power over this, or that God is known to indulge in these things. No, that's worse. That's arguably worse. And certain times you have that. You have situations that this is definitely worse. Worse off top. So it said, even though it's all bad, it's still levels to it. So reading on, verse 19. Neither are they beautiful so much as to be desired, in respect of beasts, but they went without the praise of God and his blessing. See, you want the praise of God and his blessing. Many people believe they're getting the praise of the Most High God and his blessing, not knowing that through the lifestyle they're living, Most High God isn't truly blessing or approving of those things. But on the path of doing wrong or wicked, the God of this world, the adversary, Satan, Hashtan, he can bless you as long as you're doing the wrong thing. He got you. So, because the Most High God gave him the power to do that, to be able to stand as an adversary against those who would try to do what is right, to prove and test them. Now let's start in chapter 16 and verse 1. Therefore, by the like were they punished worthily, and by the multitude of beasts tormented. See, you don't want that. You don't want that. But that's happened in times past. Worthily punished. Worthily. Meaning you earn this punishment. Through what? Through your actions. Through the things you were doing, you earned this punishment and this torment. 2. Instead of which punishment, dealing graciously with thine own people, thou preparest for them meat of a strange taste, even quails to stir up their appetite. Because even then he's getting in this is more so going back to our time in Egypt, when we had got out of you in the wilderness. You know, and the idolatry our people were doing then. Getting the golden earrings to make, calf of gold and worship that. So, things of that nature. And then, even the other thing it mentioned, because you would wonder, instead of which punishment, dealing graciously with thine own people. So, thou preparest for them meat of a strange taste, even quails to stir up their appetite. But now let's read what was the end of that. 3. To the end that they, desiring food, might for the ugly sight of the beast sent among them, loathe even that which they must needs desire, but these, suffering penury for a short space, might be made partakers of a strange taste. Because there's another side of this. Because understanding our people, they were lusting after, various things, in the wilderness. Part of that was just some of the food and things they missed from Egypt. But the way in which they were going about it, and it's paralleled here with idolatry, because they were making these things power over them. So, because there's two sides. On one side, the direct idolatry that they were doing and having punishments for those various things. But it was also the murmuring, complaining, and the various lust and things that they had, that those things started to become the predominant power over them. That is, because remember, an idol at the root is something that has power over you. Anything can be an idol over you. Heck, cake can be an idol over you, because I can't put it down. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to it. It has power over me. I no longer have power over it. If it's there, I gotta have it. It's like it knocks on my door and decides to come in. I can't even control the flow of the door anymore. It just barges in. And that's with anything. People who I just can't control my mouth. Your mouth, now that's a power. That's an idol over you. There's power over you. Just can't control my thoughts, my actions, whatever it is. All those, it becomes an idol over you. Because idolatry is very, very deep, and something that deserves a lesson in and of its own, with many of these things being covered. Because many people, they believe idolatry is just, I made this statue or figure and I decide to bow down and worship it, that, okay, that's idolatry. And that's the extent of idolatry, when no, that is not the case. That is a form of idolatry. Well, many people think of direct idolatry, but there are many things that are still other forms of idolatry or indirect idolatry. Idolatry would be just as simple as, okay, it's a Sabbath day, not 100%, yes, the sun ain't down technically, at this time. But Sabbath is upon us. But now have it to where, let's say when the sun is fully down, now you have a situation where, let's just say, but I just wanted something to eat, or my kid just wanted something to eat, and it's a Sabbath day, and they just want, I don't know, Whataburger or something like that. If I decide, well, it's the Sabbath, no, it ain't no buying or selling, but my kids really want Whataburger, my wife really want Whataburger, well, all right, I'm gonna get them some Whataburger. They want some food, I'm gonna go buy it for them. Okay, in that moment, it's not only, oh, I just wrote this out, bought it, but no, that's also idolatry, because you put your spouse or your children above the Most High in that instance, adding sin to sin. That's also how it goes. So a lot of times idolatry is added into other sins that you may not know about. So that's what it's dealing with. So now going back to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16, verse 4, we'll get more into that. For it was requisite that upon them exercising tyranny should come penury, which they could not avoid. And let's get that, penury. All right. So penury, it says extreme poverty or destitution, scarcity, dearth, inadequacy, insufficiency. So now you have a situation that due to idolatry, what happened? That was a part of the thing that put us in captivity, put us under the curses. So being in a situation where we're destitute, where we're lacking. Right now, where are we? We're lacking. Both for most of us individually, but especially as a nation, we're lacking in many ways. Even individually, still lacking in many ways. So, and even if you may have certain things together somewhat financially, there's still a lot in terms that you're still lacking in terms of the well-being of your people as a whole. Even just certain things that have just, hey, land, language, okay, and having a lot of those things off top and being able to pass on that generational wealth, and businesses as well. So a lot of those things are lacking. 5, for when the horrible fierceness of beasts came upon these, and they perished with the stings of crooked serpents. You see that? Those are judgments. Those, it said the stings of crooked serpents. That is a judgment. And of course, we wouldn't deal with, okay, serpent sting, it bites, we would say that, okay, yeah, technically. But it's dealing, we know a sting, that's something that, ooh, that hurts, that's sharp, it hurts. Okay, tomato. But situation where those things, that Most High can use anything to judge you. Sometimes people be looking for just one thing, lightning strike to come out of the sky, or just financial. Most High, he sent some animals on you. Most High sent some dogs to bite and tear you up. Most High sent some birds to peck at you, and like, man, he can use anything. So with the stings of crooked serpents, thy wrath endured not forever. So even then, Most High be mad, but he can forgive you. He can be gracious upon you. So even with certain sins that are worthy of death, Most High, hey, endure unto the end, keep going. Yeah, you're going to get punished for this. You ain't going to get off the hook. Don't think you're getting off the hook. But you still have a chance of salvation. See verse 6. It says, but they were troubled for a small season. Sometimes you're just going to be troubled for a small season because of some of the sins you commit or committed. So you're going to be troubled for a season. A small season. But remember, small relative to what the Most High considers small. Because you could say them 40 years in the wilderness, that was a small season. In retrospect to the years that have passed as just millennial earth being around, or just years in terms of being a nation. But in terms of our lives, our direct human lives, like 40 years, golly, some people that's dang near 80% of their life. Because some people dying in their 50s, that's most of your life. So, and even then, at best, many, even if you make it to 80, that's half your life. Many people be like, dang. But, small season. 6, but they were troubled for a small season, that they might be admonished, having a sign of salvation, to put them in remembrance of the commandment of thy law. So that's what you're looking at. Being able to be corrected. And being able to see that, hey, these are the changes you should make, and this is why. So, verse 7, for he that turned himself toward it was not saved by the thing that he saw, but by thee that art the Savior of all. So, at the end of the day, the thing that was always saved was the Most High and his grace and mercy. So, it wasn't any God or idol, and it wasn't even just because of us. It really wasn't us. It was the Most High's choice to be gracious and to save us. His choice. Now, verse 8. And in this thou madest thine enemies confess that it is thou who deliverest from all evil. Meaning any negative thing, it's always going to be the Most High God and his choice to get you out of it. He can get you out of it. He can make a daughter escape, but it's always going to be his choice. And there's nothing that you are going through or may go through or could go through that the Most High God could not get you out of if he chooses. So if you're still going through it, guess what? He hasn't chosen to get you out of it. Sometimes it's, yeah, you're going to sit in that for a while longer. Or you're going to sit in that until you change, repent, or do this. So you have that. But now verse 9. For them the bitings of grasshoppers and flies killed. Neither was there found any remedy for their life. For they were worthy to be punished by such. Could you imagine the bite? It said the bitings of grasshoppers and flies. Because don't worry, that times them types of judgment coming back. Yeah, the biting, you mad, boy, getting killed by grasshoppers and flies. Could you imagine that? That's a cold way to go out. And creepy, but you know how you die, man. I got killed by a swarm of grasshoppers. They were fierce. Swarm of flies. No, sir. So it said, neither was there found any remedy for their life. That's bad. So you know a remedy is a cure. So it said there was no cure for their life. Could you imagine that? You were trying to cure a disease, an ailment, some pain, but to not have a cure for your life? Because that cure is supposed to be repentance. That's what's supposed to help save your life. To not be able to repent, that's the worst space to be in. I can't even get it right. That's a horrible space to be in. Verse 10. But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame. For thy mercy was ever by them, and healed them. So, here it is. You have situating venomous dragons. But it's really understanding the mercy of the Most High. That's literally, like I said, Most High, he wants sincere repentance. You give him sincere repentance, he can work with you. He don't want lip service. He don't want the fakeness. See, a lot of us don't like fake. But you know, this world, this generation, boy, everybody love fake. They have a problem with real. They like to act like they real, but I don't want to really keep it real. But yeah, but Most High, Most High, he keep it real. You know, his mercy, everybody. I mean, he's the one that's always trying to heal and get it right. Let's read on verse 11. For they were pricked that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved. Man, we were pricked, meaning, yeah, we got hit like, oh, that hurt. Yeah. But it was so that you would come back into the remembrance of the Most High God's words and his will and what he would have you to do. Like, hey, I need you to move this way, or hey, that reminder. That's why, man, you pray, you want the Most High's grace and mercy, but you also want his judgments. Because it all goes in tandem. Like, it all goes together. It's a package. Because, all right, put it this way. Sometimes that judgment can do you better than that grace and mercy. Because sometimes that grace and mercy, you could take advantage. When you just get that slap on the wrist, sometimes it sets you up for fear because you think everything is all right. Or you downplay the severity of your actions. Not knowing, like, dang, what I did was really, Most High really feel a certain way, but because of his grace and mercy, he ain't hit me like that. You know, he understood, you know, or was being nice per this situation. But if you're not in a space where you're as aware, because the scripture says many times, boy, we don't be aware. Most High, you speaking once, yea, twice, but guess what? Man perceiveth it not. He's talking to you, but it's still not registering. Sometimes you need a bigger judgment to get hit, so you look up like, dang, man, what was that? It rocked me. You know, it rocked me. All right, and think about it this way. A little wind blow, you ain't too worried. You ain't too worried. But let you get a tornado warning thing of the nature. Now you might start feeling a certain way. You looking out there, it's looking dark. Hey, I can get hit. Let me prepare. Let me make sure I got this over here, that over there. It's a totally different type of mindset and preparation, right? Where you getting some hurricane warning, totally different type of preparation and mindset. Same with judgment and with dealing with grace and mercy. Sometimes that grace and mercy, it's like that little wind that blow, and it's like, okay, yeah, that wasn't that bad. We all right. We ain't got to do nothing. I kind of like that breeze. That's the song we feel. I kind of like that breeze. But sometimes when that judgment, when it really hit, it's like that hurricane hitting or like that tornado hit. Like, oh dang, I gotta do that. I gotta do that. There's a different sense of urgency. Sometimes you need that judgment to hit you with a sense of urgency to, hey, let me get it right. Make these changes. So in that way, it alerts you to know this is a problem. This is a bigger deal than what you may believe or think it to be. So you need that. Read verse 11 again. 11, for they were pricked that they should remember thy words and were quickly saved. So that's the thing. Just as bad as we were pricked, we were still quickly saved. Quickly saved out of trouble and harm's way. That not falling into deep forgetfulness. You don't want to fall into deep forgetfulness. That's how you start falling away from the truth. You start falling to deep forget, not just all right, because remember, Most High God even serves his commandments like, man, remember to do this. Remember, because and just so many things repetitively built into the scriptures, because it's like, I want to make sure you understand how important this is and to remember it. So, like, not fall into deep forgetfulness, they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. Continually mindful of thy goodness. How? Continually in a space where I'm thinking about righteousness and the words of the Most High. That's what's going to help keep me from offending, going too far to the left or too far to the right. So now you have a situation where you have, like they say, it's your conscience speaking. You need your conscience to be speaking to you, but righteously, rightfully. So verse 12. For it was, now this is important too, this is a big one, 12 and 13. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things. So understanding that the key thing that healed us, it had nothing to do with the physical things that in the way we think of, like when we go to the doctor or nurse or whatever, or we get hurt and get, first aid kits from, more than likely our mothers or grandmas, patches up. Like, it wasn't about that. The key thing that healed us was the Most High God and the adherence to his words. That was the thing that truly healed us. That's the thing that truly, if you're in a space where you're sick, you're going through some type of bodily ailment, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever. Biggest thing is understanding the Most High God and his word is what's going to heal you. Sometimes you need to get in that book more. If you can't, listen to it more. Use whatever it is, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Listen to the word more so that you can be made whole and heal through hearing the things that you probably need to change. So, or just meditating on the word. It's like, dang, I didn't know it said that. Or yeah, that's the change I got to make. So, you can have that. Believe it or not. 13. For thou hast power of life and death. Thou leadest to the gates of hell and bringest up again. Boy, think about that. Most High God, that's power. Either way it goes, that's the power he has. And that's a lot of power. Power over life and death. I can make you alive. I can kill you. At any time. You can get into a bad accident. God can choose, all right, I'm going to let you drop. That line going to drop. You going to flat line. And then I'm going to bring you back. Take the spirit out. Put the spirit in. That's what he going to do. Turn it around and do it again. That's what he going to do. He got his own rhythm with it. Like I say, he leads to the gates of hell and bring us up again. Boy. And different biblical definitions for hell. Hell is generally a state of being, but bring you down to a lower state. Bring you down to a point where you in a bad space, even unto death. But he can restore you, revive you. We can rebuild them, make them better, stronger, faster. So you have that. Verse 14. A man indeed killeth through his malice. So a lot of times you're going to have it where as a human being, people, they're going to kill when there's hatred, or disdain for someone. And the spirit, when it is gone forth, returneth not. Neither soul received up cometh again. So now, when a man killed, it's that person is dead. And their spirit is going to be received up back unto the Most High God. So, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, when someone dies, generally they ain't coming back, with the natural order of things. If they die, they're dead. D-E-A-D, dead. So, It'd be funny if I spelled it wrong, huh? But anyway, 15. But it is not possible to escape thine hand. That's a scary thing. Scripture tell you it's a fearful thing. It's a scary thing to fall into the hand of the living God. Because if God is, think about it, if God is against you, if the creator of heaven and earth, everything is against you, what can you do? What can you truly do if God is against you? God said, yeah, I want your life to be difficult. Nah, I'm going to make it difficult. All right, I ain't going to let you do that. Ain't going to let you buy that. Make you forget that so you don't do that. And then, oh yeah, I'm going to let you do that. But everything is going to be to your disadvantage. If God is against you, it's going to be to hurt you. And can't nobody or nothing else save you out of that. So, you have that. Verse, that's what it says. It's impossible to escape his hands. Because even to make matters worse, there's no situation where you have, like there's like the Most High too, or like second power of the same level that's all of a sudden going to say, hey, surely thou shalt not do that. This is unacceptable. We'll stop this now. No, you don't have that. God ain't in this place where he married got a spot. Don't you think you're being a little too hard on the money? Give him a little more grace and mercy. Give him another chance. Just don't flood the world this time. Let's just give it another 1,000 years. It ain't none of that. he does what he gonna do. If he wanted to, hey, like talking about, if he wanted to take everyone out and make nations out of rocks, he can do that if he wanted to. I'm done with all this. These human beings, flesh and body. I'm working on a new material. We just gonna have rock people. I think that's what we need, rock people. Because ain't just rock people, they ain't gonna be worshiping rock. So you made out of rock. So it's just we'll try that now. We'll try a different path. You ain't having that. So now let's get verse 16. For the ungodly that denied to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm, with strange rains, hails, and showers were they persecuted, that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed. Man, that's deep. Because like I said, with the ungodly, those that don't really know the Most High, it said, man, they were being scourged, they were being hit, punished, chastened, by the power and might of the Most High. But getting hit, this stuff wasn't just regular. It was different. It was strange per the usual type of situation. It's like I'm someone I always keep my cup on my left, but all of a sudden I just started putting it on my right. That's strange per the situation, what I normally do. So it's like even with strange rain, you think about what is this strange rain? Like it's raining like purple or something like that, No. But it's a situation where you're looking at, somebody you got regular rain, and it's like, ooh, this rain is intense. This ain't regular rain. Normally when it rain, it's kind of like this, but nah, this, ooh-wee, it's coming down. Get you to start looking up. That's what Most High wants. He wants you to start looking up towards him. Getting back right with him. Seeing this stuff ain't normal. There's a problem here. I should probably be seeking a higher power that can resolve these things. Because I may not be doing right by something. Again, that's why you need judgment. You need judgment to be able to look up and see. It's like, ooh, I need to change. Or maybe I need to change something. I need to figure it out. Because if everything was good, how would you know? Think about it. If everything was good, going on day by day normally, how would you know? I mean, it's like a situation where similar like with kids or with your kids, your spouse, whoever, if there's a situation where there's a problem, or something's bothering, you have to speak up because else I used to know I'm not a mind reader. You know, I need to say, and especially even if I can sense that might be something wrong, I don't know exactly what until you tell me. So that communication again. So now, like I said, by the strength of in 16, it said with strange rains, hails, and showers were they persecuted. Using again, before we read earlier, using animals like serpent. Now we reading, he using the elements. Most High God can use the animals to hurt you. He can use the elements to hurt you. Earth, wind, air, fire. So, oh well, yeah, when they're the same. But earth, fire, water, air. So I just say, oh wait, earth, fire, water, air. But yeah, using the elements to hurt you, especially in the sense of a natural disaster. What you gonna hit them with? All right, hit them with this hurricane. Hit them with this earthquake. That'll get them. Verse verse 17. For which is most to be wondered at, the fire had more force in the water that quencheth all things, for the world fighteth for the righteous. So, because like I said, as we were reading in verse 16 at the bottom, it says, were they persecuted that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed. That fire is twofold. That fire is not only through the literal fires that were started, but within that you also have hailstone, meteorite, things that nature coming down. Getting hit with those, that's part of that fire too. Hailstones. So, but that fire is also the word of the Most High. His word is like unto fire. And his word being what consumes you, although various things can follow after, because his word is holy. And his judgments are real. And the angels carry out his judgments when his laws aren't followed to or hearkened unto. So it's important. So now 17, that's why it says for which is most to be wondered at. Which is most to be like, dang, that's crazy. Man, do you ever think about that? Shoot. So it says, which is most to be wondered at? The fire had more force in the water that quencheth all things, for the world fighteth for the righteous. For sometime the flame was mitigated, that it might not burn up the beasts that were sent against the ungodly, but themselves might see and perceive that they were persecuted with the judgment of God. There it is right there. It's levels to it. First, understanding that there were beasts that were sent against them. But dang, who sent the beast? Most High God. The Most High God sent the beast. So guess what? You get attacked. It don't matter if it's a pack of dogs, wolves, coyotes, hyenas, you name it. Who sent that pack on you? The Most High God. You get a swarm of honeybees, mud daubers, carpenter bees, you name it. Who sent that on you? Most High. You're just trying to figure out why. And more than likely the why is because you were operating wickedly. You were not doing right. Yeah, rarely is chance that there's a test, but more than likely it's because something you did or failed to do. Therefore, the Most High God chose to do this and hit you with this or that. So now, verse 18, I'll read again. For sometime the flame was mitigated, that it might not burn up the beasts that were sent against the ungodly. So think about that. Certain times, Most High God, he had to back up, lest the animals get hurt more than the people he trying to punish. Remember, that's still all part of his creation too. Like, nah, I ain't trying to do too much. They gonna mess around, retaliate, and try to get these animals extinct. Nah, I'll back them down. Let them go back. So rest up. So, like it says, latter in 18, but themselves might see and perceive that they were persecuted with the judgment of God. That's what he wants you to see. He wants the whole world to see. You're going through these things because the creator of heaven and earth is causing you to go through these things. But not just for no reason, but because of your words or your actions, or both, combination of both. So now, 19. And at another time it burneth even in the midst of water above the power of fire, that it might destroy the fruits of an unjust land. 20. Instead whereof thou feddest thine own people with angels' food, and didst send them from heaven bread prepared without their labor, able to content every man's delight in agreeing to every taste. That's where you find out what was that manna. What were they eating? First off, it's understanding that bread was prepared without labor. Can you imagine that? Bread coming out of heaven that you ain't even had to bake it or nothing. You ain't had to air fry nothing. No, it's coming out of the air ready made. You imagine that whole loaf was hot and ready. Better than Little Caesar's Pizza though, hot and ready. And then it's that man is whatever you want it to be. You ever crave something? You ever crave something in your mind? You had a taste of something, and it's like, man, it'd be nice if I just had that. That manna became that for you. It became that for real. That was the spiritual power behind it. There was even bread, but that bread became whatever you wanted it to be. Pizza, hot dog, chicken, it was whatever you wanted it to be. Craving your senses of taste. Most High put that spirit on, it's going to crave the taste of whatever you desire. You want that manna to taste like cucumber, then it's going to taste like cucumber. So, because that's just the part, like I said, craving this, whatever it was, it had you. So, like I said, and let me read 20 again. Instead whereof thou feddest thy own people with angels' food, and didst send them from heaven bread prepared without their labor, able to content every man's delight, and agreeing to every taste. So it doesn't matter if you however you would have liked to prepare, it was that for you. No one will be able to say this bread nasty, I don't like it, it's too soft, hard. Nope. It was gonna hit. So, like I said, it was gonna content whatever it is you was craving or wanted. It was good. It was solid. 21. For thy sustenance declared thy sweetness unto thy children, and serving to the appetite of the eater, tempered itself to every man's liking. Think about that bread tempered itself. It said, "Oh, this is what you wanted me to taste like. All right, I'm a shape to that. Oh, this is what you want me to feel like. This the texture you like. I'm a temper myself to that. I'm a adjust to you. What more could you ask for? You imagine that? It's like, and someone would be like, man, how can bread do that? Okay, some of them beds that they got like something like them Tempur-Pedic beds, or some of them beds they have it where you lay down and it curve and shape to your body. It takes shape. It don't matter who lay that body. It's going,
temper to your body. It's like, man, just like that, but with bread. Which is hard for us to imagine because we thinking all the things that are limited in that regard. Like, man, bread can't. If it's hard, it's hard. If it's soft, it's soft. If it tastes like that, it just tastes like that. Nah, this ain't regular bread. It's bread from heaven. It's got the spirit on it. Most High said, this gonna adjust. This bread gonna hit every time. Certain things after a few days you done had, and it's like, man, I'm tired of eating this. I'm tired of looking at this. But nope. Most I had it where nope. You ain't gonna be tired of this, cause it's always gonna switch up on you. It's like, man, I had the bread, cause I wanted something sweet, right? And I had the bread. Yesterday it was sweet, but then Dad wanted something salty, and the bread was salty. It was buttery too, salty, buttery. Oh, garlic bread, like switched up on me. Thought I was tripping. Nah, you wasn't tripping. It was adjusting to what you wanted. So. Dang, that's crazy. And the thing, our people still complaining. We got that, but there can still be more because it ain't a meal. There's other stuff to go with it. We need some quail. That's what we really need. We need some other meat to go with it. I mean, it's just bread. I'm tired of eating just bread. 22. And it said, but snow and ice endured the fire and melted not, that they might know that fire burning in the hail and sparkling in the rain did destroy the fruits of their enemies. Because Most High God, boy, he was working some works in the wilderness. He wasn't playing. So, but having our people understand how the Most High, how he works. 23. But this again did even forget his own strength, that the righteous might be nourished. So, because the Most High, he had to leave off and say, nah, I ain't finna rev it up like that. Because, a certain time, you strong. It's like, all right, certain time I show out, and it's like, nope, I ain't gonna show. I'm a reserve. I'm a reserve. Most High was reserving. Kind of remember like, dang, I could have did this, but you know what? Nah, it's past. I ain't even gonna take it there. I ain't even gonna show out. I'm gonna calm down. So, verse 24: for the creature that serveth thee, who art the maker, and gradeth his strength against the unrighteous for their punishment, and abateth his strength for the benefit of such as put their trust in thee. Man, because the Most High, he can choose to be in a space where he shows out, or he can shut up his strength and his power that, nah, I ain't gonna do that. But like it said, it's for your benefit. It said he abateth his strength. Like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna tone it down. But it says for the benefit as such as put their trust in thee, for y'all benefit. I was gonna do it, but nope, I'll tone down for y'all. So I don't go too hard on y'all. Lest y'all get hurt or hurt y'all, or I do too much. Sometimes, it's like that. You might experience that as a parent. Certain times you might want to really go in on your kid, whether it's rebuking, yelling at them real bad, or you want to really get the belt. And certain times, nah, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do it this time. Nah, not this time, because I don't want to make it worse. And then, nah, I'm a ease up this time. I'm going to be gracious. I'm going to be a little merciful. So, they going to dodge a bullet on this one. But it's going to be to they benefit this time, and that they dodge this bullet. But next time, I'm going to go in. Next time, I'm going to get them. Most I'll be the same way. We as kids, regardless of how old or young we are, we human beings, especially as his people, we as kids. 25. Therefore, even then was it altered into all fashions, and was obedient to thy grace that nourisheth all things, according to the desire of them that had need. Golly, to desire them that had need. We have some needs. 26, that thy children, O Lord, that's who he dealing with, his children, his people, whom thou lovest, that's the thing. And that part of that love is both judgment, but also grace and mercy. Certain times, yeah, I drop the hammer, I bring it down on them, but the other times, I don't put the hammer down and give you a chance. I ain't gonna do that this time. So, that's what it says. That thy children, O Lord, whom thou lovest, might know that it is not the growing of fruits that nourisheth man, but that it is thy word which preserveth them that put their trust in thee. Now, why would it say that? Because we know growing of fruits, herbs and other things, like we know that provides nourishment for our body, helps heal us. Especially eating a lot of different diverse fruits, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, bananas, you name it, mango, different benefits that nourish us. And we're thinking so much of things that nourish the body, but yet the Most High God, his word, nourishes our spirits that helps preserve the body all the more. Physically, mentally, you get spirit right. It'll help project and take care of you and push you that much further when you get your spirit right, versus if you don't get your spirit right, yeah, some of that stuff you do, it might help in the moment, but then something else is going to befall you because you're not moving right. So now, let me check. Okay, so now this 17, this next one is going to be good. Yeah, this next chapter, because this next chapter, 17, yeah, we're going to end off with 16. Then we'll get into 17 next time, because this chapter 17 is really going to start dealing with psychosis, mental, hallucination disorders, and how, through sin you can start being in a space where you become disconnected with reality. But a lot of things, it's like, man, sin, it affects you not only a physical, but it affects you so much spiritually. It affects you mentally, and just dealing with that. A lot of times, the fear that can come in, the doubt, the all these different emotions that can come in just due to sin and wreak havoc on your mind and spirit. So I'm gonna say that, Most High willing, next week I'll be able to go into chapter 17, which is really a favorite chapter of mine. Wisdom Side. It's a great chapter. So, but I don't want to give that one half baked. I see the time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. But hopefully you guys got something out of that. We went all over chapter 16. But yeah, we'll pick things back up in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17 and verse 1. Okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say Shalom.